Hi Margot, how have you been doing? I'm feeling okay. So last time we met, you mentioned that you were going to go for some tests because your family doctor was concerned that you might be experiencing gestational diabetes. How did the appointment go? So I went to the doctor and it was such a long day. They looked at my blood and then they got me to drink something and I had to wait a really long time while they kept looking at the sugar in my blood. That day of testing sounds like a really long day. It was, and then they told me that the test was positive and I have gestational diabetes. I see. And how are you feeling now that you have the diagnosis? Um, it's nice to know what's going on, like with my body and what I've been feeling, because I've been like so tired and dizzy and thirsty, as you know. But now it's just like another thing I have to worry about, and I just feel like I have so much going on. Yes, I'm so glad you got some clarity, but I can see what you mean. It can be overwhelming having this like added concern in addition to already being pregnant. Did the doctor share anything with you about how they're going to treat it? Yeah, like that was the hardest part. They told me that they first want me to try exercising and eating foods less high in sugar to see if that helps. And then if it doesn't, they will give me some insulin. So they're like putting it on you to sort out what you're going through, which I can imagine is difficult because you haven't been feeling very well. So it's hard to take the step to do these extra things for your health. Yeah, and they don't really get that, like, because I've been so stressed and tired, I'm not eating like healthy options. I'm going for like a muffin or something, or like a cookie, or just something that is like really sweet and delicious to get by because it also helps me feel a little less stressed when I can just treat myself sometimes, you know? Yeah, it's a lot for them to put that on you. And I do know we talked about how you've had a lot of times in your life when you've like felt out of control. So when you're like stressed, you find different ways to get in control, like making choices about like what you eat. Yeah, that is one way to look at it because, like, when I'm stressed, I just like to be in control. And I've been trying to control the other things about my pregnancy and get so much done, but it might be really good to try and, like, get a little bit in control of my health and get to decide what goes into my body. I totally get where you're coming from, and you should never feel bad about what you're eating to get by. You have the right to eat what you want, and it sounds like the doctor didn't really share with you what is going on with your body. So I'm wondering if I shared with you what I know about gestational diabetes, if it would help you feel more like have more of an understanding and feel more in control of what's going on with your body. How does that sound to do? How would you feel learning about this? Yeah, I think that would be like a really big help. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little visual representation. So here we have like a pregnant person body, you have your placenta, and then you have your fetus. So, what happens when you're pregnant is the placenta is sending hormones throughout your whole body, changing things. And one of the things that it changes is the amount of insulin in your body. So, what happens is when you eat something that has like some sugar in it, so it could be anything from like a piece of bread to like maybe like a fruit or then something more sweet. So, this represents the sugar. So your body can't just absorb that sugar right away. Instead, what you need is you need some insulin. So the insulin helps, the insulin is blue, and it helps represent how your body is able to absorb the sugar. So what happens when you're pregnant is the body produces less insulin. So there's all this sugar floating around, but there's less insulin. And that's so some of the sugar can be sent to the placenta so that the baby's getting what it needs. What happens though is sometimes the body really doesn't make enough insulin for you to absorb this sugar, or it has some challenges because of all the hormones. There's also what your doctor might be getting at is if you eat things with like less sugar or less carbohydrates, what happens is that means there's less for your body to work with. So the insulin you do have can break down the sugars that you have. Another thing that you can do to help is you can exercise, and that means that your body really needs the sugar, so it's going to absorb more in the body. Another thing they can do is they can give you artificial insulin, so that even though if for whatever reason you're not able to cut down your sugar, you're not able to exercise as much, or maybe your just body needs some extra help, then it's going to give you more insulin so that it can break down. And as you can see, because when you have a baby, your body's changing so much, so many people who are pregnant struggle with this issue. Often it can be like 1 in 5 people, but also it really is just something that happens sometimes when you're pregnant. So I'm showing you this so that you know that it's more common, and it's not really something that you need to feel bad about, and you can make some changes. Sometimes they're really helpful to get rid of gestational diabetes, but if you can't make those changes, that's okay, because there's lots of things that the doctors can do to help you out. I really appreciate knowing like what's going on with my body. I think because I've been feeling so exhausted, exercising might be a little bit hard for me. I would like to know more about how diet can help though. For sure. So I'm also going to pull up an excellent resource on Diabetes Canada, and I can send it to you later for reference. So I'll just pull it up here. Okay, so you should be able to see that on our screen share. So basically, what this is it has some options for you to like adjust your eating habits, and it has these awesome like meal plans that have like lower carbs. And then it also just has some general tips that you can think about if you're getting groceries. It recommends things like eating whole grains, fruit and vegetables, healthy fats, scheduling meals, and drinking a lot of water. And there's also some snacks on here. So what are you thinking about this? I really like this because I'm definitely a snacker. So if I'm having a hard time, I will look into the cupboard and fridge and just like reach whatever is there, which is usually like a cookie or like a high sugar granola bar. But I'm seeing that there's a lot of low carb options like low sugar yogurt or peanut butter. And I feel like I can definitely manage my health more. And it makes me a little bit less anxious about having this diagnosis than when I first heard about it. Okay, so we've talked a lot about diet. I'm wondering if there's anything else you would like to know about. So now, like hearing about how I can change my diet, I think I would want to think about exercise. I just worry that I have so much to do. I'm getting ready to have a baby, and I am trying to work. So I just worry I won't have time to do it, but I'm still open to hearing about it. Absolutely. Do you do any like physical activity before you were pregnant? Yes, I used to go outside more, and I would go to a few workout classes. It's hard to get out though. For sure. So walking is something that you can definitely do, and it can totally be really effective in helping reduce the amount of glucose in your body because your body's burning it. As long as you're okay from a doctor to go for walks, it shouldn't be a problem. Do you have like a friend or family member you could maybe go with? Yeah, I think I could go with my partner. There's also a ton of easy but impactful exercises on YouTube that you can do. Again, as long as it's okay with your healthcare provider that you're being physically active. And they can also help you get ready for birth. So I really like Grow with Joe, and I'll pull up the link here again. All right. So Joe has a background in education and like kinesiology. And they're really easy ones that you can do. She has some videos while she's pregnant. And if she doesn't feel right, there's so many other options. There are also yoga instructors in the community that specialize in prenatal yoga, and I can send you their contacts if you'd like. That sounds great. I think I'm going to look into that. That's awesome. So, how are you feeling after hearing all this information? I'm feeling good. I feel like I kind of like know what's going on with my body and what I can do to help it, which is way better than how I was before. That's great. Please remember that small steps can help, and sometimes your body, like, it does need extra help. And if you end up needing the insulin that your doctors mentioned they're going to check up on, that's totally okay. Your doctor is like a really good source to determine this. And remember, it doesn't mean that you're not trying. Your body is just responding to the extra needs of the baby growing inside you. There's also so much going on during pregnancy, so that if you don't get a chance to exercise and find yourself eating those comfort food options or easy options, you're doing the best you can, and that is enough. And remember that almost 1 in 5 people have gestational diabetes when they're pregnant, and they often do need medical care. So you're not alone, and Diabetes Canada has some great resources for and connections for people who are going through this. Thank you. I appreciate it. Absolutely. I will send you the resources we talked about in an email and a written summary of what we talked about today so you can look at it. We'll be in touch soon. Bye.